Hey everyone, so let's talk about something every company has, but almost nobody gets right. I'm talking about the employee handbook. Today, we're going to dig into how AI can help us finally figure out what a company's real culture is and build a guide that, actually works. Let's get into it.
Okay, so right out of the gate, your employee handbook is fundamentally dishonest. Wow, that's a pretty bold statement, right? But it's really the core idea we're exploring today. The point isn't that leaders are, trying to lie. It's that the handbook usually describes this perfect, aspirational culture that, well, it just doesn't line up with what happens day to day. And that gap, that's where the cynicism really starts to creep in.
And this right here, this is such a great way to see the difference. Look at the left side. You've got those generic values we've all seen a million times. Innovation, collaboration. Okay, great. But now look at what Duolingo does on the right. They don't just say innovation. They tell you exactly what that looks like. Prototypes, not pitch decks. See? That's not some fluffy goal. It's a rule for how work actually gets done. It's specific, you can act on it, and most importantly, it's honest.
So, this brings us to the heart of the problem, what we're calling the handbook lie. The whole traditional way of writing down a company's culture is just broken. Why? Because it tries to treat culture, this living, breathing, constantly changing thing, like it's some static document you can just hand down from on high. And it doesn't work.
And it really boils down to three big flaws. First, these handbooks are aspirational, not actual. They talk about the culture the leaders wish they had, not the one they've actually got. Second, they're frozen in time. They get updated, once a year? Maybe? But the real culture is changing every single day. And finally, they're so generic they're basically useless. Like, what does bias for action really mean when you're in a meeting on a Tuesday morning? If you don't have real examples, it's just a poster on the wall.
And look, this isn't some small problem. The impact is huge. Get this, 88%. A staggering 88% of employees think their company's culture needs to be better. So this is not a niche thing. It's this massive, widespread gap between the story companies are telling and what it's actually like to work there.
Okay, so the old way is broken. But what if the answer isn't just, trying to write a better story? What if the real culture, the authentic one, is actually being recorded every single day right under our noses?
And that right there is the big aha moment. Your company's actual operating system, it's not in some PDF handbook. It's in what people call the digital exhaust. All that data left behind from just doing work. It's in the transcripts from your Zoom calls. It's in the comments on design docs. It's in your sprint planning notes. The truth has literally been there the whole time. We just couldn't really read it before. But now we can.
So this brings us to this really cool new idea called organizational intelligence. And what is it? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It's about using AI to go through all those interactions and pull out the unwritten rules, how things actually get done around here. This isn't just about writing a better handbook. It's about getting this deep, strategic insight into how your company really, truly works.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, how on earth do we actually do this? Well, the good news is, this isn't some crazy, complicated, futuristic thing. It's actually a pretty straightforward, step-by-step process for taking all that raw data from conversations and turning it into a real, living guide to your culture.
It basically breaks down into 3 simple steps. First, you capture. This just means recording key meetings to get that authentic data. Think leadership meetings, product reviews, all that good stuff. Next, you analyze. You use AI to comb through the transcripts and find those hidden patterns of behavior. And then finally, you build. You take all those insights and turn them into things you can actually use, like a new handbook or even guides for performance reviews.
Now, the real secret sauce here is this idea of AI recipes. This is where the magic really happens. You're not just dumping a bunch of data into an AI and hoping for the best. Instead, you're giving it very specific, structured prompts, or recipes, to look for very specific things about your culture.
So for example, recipe number 1 is what we'll call reward pattern analysis. You basically tell the AI, hey, go through all these transcripts and find every single time someone got praised or got more budget or more responsibility. This is going to show you what the company actually rewards, not what it says it rewards. If the people who make fancy slide decks always get the praise, while the people who ship a simple working prototype don't, well, that's your real culture.
Then you've got recipe number 2, decision-making archaeology. I love that name. It's like you're digging through the past to figure out how decisions really get made. Does the highest paid person in the room always get their way? Does hard data always beat out what users are saying?
This recipe uncovers the real power dynamics and the real rules for making choices in your company.
And finally, recipe number 3. This one is the honest mirror. This is where you take your official, written-down company values, you give them to the AI, and you say, okay, show me the proof. Find me examples where we actually did this, and find me the examples where we totally failed to. This is powerful because it creates real accountability. It holds up a mirror and shows you exactly where your actions don't match your words.
So you can see how this goes way, way beyond just writing a better handbook, right? We're talking about taking culture, which everyone usually thinks of as this soft, fuzzy HR thing, and turning it into a measurable, manageable operating system for the entire company.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds really cool, but it must be super expensive and complicated. But check this out. It's actually surprisingly cheap and easy to get started. For a leadership team of about 30 people, you could get this whole system up and running for maybe a few $100 a month. I mean, think about it. That's way, way less than the cost of making just one bad hire.
And the value here is huge, and it's specific to different leaders. If you're in the C-suite, this is about cutting down on those expensive mishires and making sure the whole company is aligned. If you're a product leader, it's how you scale good decision-making across all your teams. And for tech leaders, this is how you finally capture all that tribal knowledge that's stuck in people's heads and make it available to everyone.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just a one-and-done project. Think of the AI as this infinitely patient coach for your entire leadership team. Just imagine getting a private report every month backed by real data that shows you how your own behavior in meetings is either helping or hurting the culture you say you want to build. That's a game changer.
So when you pull it all together, what we're really talking about here is a massive shift in thinking. It's about moving away from just wishful thinking and moving towards a place of radical honesty, all backed by data.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't about a document. It's about building a new capability, a new muscle, organizational self-awareness. Let me tell you, the companies that figure this out, they get a huge competitive advantage. They hire smarter, they move faster, and they don't lose that special something that makes them great as they start scale.
So, the tools are here. The process works. The only real question left is the one right there on the screen for you. Are you ready to find out what your culture really is